Hello students, the lesson 2 focuses on objectives and functions of business. We study social responsibility of a business. We study forms of business organization. We study factors influencing the choice of suitable form of organization, and we focus on advantages, disadvantages of sole proprietorship. First, let us study the objectives and functions of business. The objectives of business are divided into different types, such as economic objectives, human objectives, social objectives, organic objectives. In economic objectives, we have four subheads. One by one, I will explain. Let us discuss about the economic objectives. Profit earning. Every business organization is established with a motto to sell or make goods and services to attain a good profit. So, profit is the motto of the business. Second one is with respect to production of goods. An organization is established to earn profits. It needs to produce goods by using all the resources like men, money, material, machinery. And all these resources lead to increase in efficiency and also helps in getting a higher productivity with minimum effort. Third point is with respect to creating markets. All the goods produced have to be sold. For doing so, the objective of an organization is to open up new markets, penetrate into existing markets, and they have to see that the market share is increased. Next point with respect to economic objectives is technological improvement. The markets are highly competitive in nature. It is evident that the businessmen should always strive to upgrade their technology. They have to see that they adopt to the latest changes, and they have to see that they enter the new market environment, and at the same time they have to see that they produce quality goods at lower prices. To produce quality goods at lower prices, definitely we require latest technology. Next comes human objectives. In human objectives, we have three areas. One is welfare of employees, customer satisfaction, satisfaction of shareholders. So, welfare of employees. The management has responsibility towards the employees to look after them by providing all possible benefits and help them in increasing the quality of living standards of the employees. Next comes customer satisfaction. The aspirations and perceptions of the customers have to be given importance, as the business is meant for consumers and their satisfaction. It is the main objective of the business to satisfy the customer. Next comes satisfaction of shareholders. As the organization grows in size, it is difficult to individually finance the running of the organization. So the organizations have shareholders. They contribute and invest in the companies. In order to satisfy shareholders, the management should give reasonable return on the money which the shareholders have invested in the firm. Next objective is social objective. In social objective, we have 5 points: availability of goods quality of goods, cooperation with government, creating job opportunities, natural resources. So, availability of goods. The business organization should ensure that the supply of products to meet the requirements of the society. So, according to the demand, we should be in a position to supply the goods. So, it is the social objective of the business. Next is the quality of goods and services. It is the basic responsibility of the businessman to see to supply quality goods and services to customers at a reasonable price. Next is a cooperation with government. The businessman should be reliable to the government agencies while paying tax dues and other liabilities. By doing so, the businessman cooperate with the government in helping to achieve the objective of establishing socialistic pattern in the society. Creating job opportunities to the unemployed is one of the social objectives of business. Natural resources. Efforts should be made by the businessman to put the limited natural resources to the best possible use. Organic objectives. Organic objectives include survival, growth, recognition. In case of cutthroat competition, profits become very low. Organizations tend to operate very carefully and their survival becomes a crucial objective. Next comes growth. As the business prospers, it tends to merge with other firms to take over them in order to gain profits on large scale, and it attracts more and more customers. Recognition. The business organization attain recognition in the society by providing better customer service and and also by increasing market share, by caring for the society and environment. So recognition plays a significant role in the objectives of the business. Now let us focus on the five important functions of a business. So we have a production function, marketing, finance, personnel management, purchasing function. So production function basically deals with the manufacturing of goods and services with the help of different factors of production such as land, labor, capital, production planning and control, quality control, R&D, inventory management and coordination with the other functions of the organization. Thus, production function is also known as manufacturing function. Next comes marketing and distribution function. Marketing function deals with the distribution of goods and services with an aim of taking advantage of satisfying the needs of the human beings. Marketing process is very much essential both at the production as well as at the consumption stage. Marketing function includes predicting the consumer demand for future, evaluating the changes in consumer taste, choices, preferences, and also we have, for example, we have to use different distribution channels. We have wholesalers, retailers, and other middlemen, such that our product reaches to the customer. Next comes finance function. Finance or capital is very essential to have the fixed capital or working capital of the business. The finance department arranges finance from various sources and uses it as a working capital, and this in turn helps for the growth and development of business. It is finance function is one of the significant functions of the organization. Next comes personnel management, human resource management or personnel management deals with the management and its effective use of manpower existing in the organization, recruiting the best talented staff for the firm. Personal management includes choosing the right candidate for the right job at the right time, takes up decisions about the payable compensation of employees, both monetary and non-monetary, as per their performance, and personnel management conducts training, development programs, and maintains the records of employees, and it maintains a good relationship among the staff and the employer, and both they combine, they work together to accomplish the organization's goals. Personnel management tries to reduce labor turnover and appraises the performance of the staff. And we have the fifth function, which is a purchasing function. The purchasing function basically involves functions such as recognizing the required raw material, selecting the best tender out of various tenders and quotations, verifying the product's quality, and making essential payments to the vendors. Next concept which we will be discussing in today's class is with respect to social responsibility of business. So, according to Burley defines social responsibility as it is the manager's responsiveness to public consensus. So, the lead taken by the managers and how they respond to the public consensus is nothing but social responsibility. Social responsibility refers to the businessman's decisions and actions taken for reasons at least partially beyond the firm's direct economic or technical interest. Social responsibility of business is viewed as conducting its operations in a free and a fair manner by discharging its commitment towards different segments. For example, responsibility towards shareholders, consumers, workers, suppliers, government, general public. So, let us discuss about the responsibility towards shareholders. It is the social responsibility of management to provide true and fair information regarding the functioning of the organization, return on capital, profits earned, etc., in order to encourage them to either directly participate in the management actions or to provide powers to intervene. It is necessary to protect the interests of the shareholders. Towards consumers, the management should provide good quality products to the consumers at reasonable price. It should provide accurate and relevant information to the customers. It should not provide harmful products and goods of hazardous nature. Towards workers, the management should adopt such policies which recognize which are recognized by trade unions, which create a sense of belongingness and which improve the working and living conditions of the workers. The workers should be paid fair wages, and we have to treat them properly. Towards suppliers and creditors, the management should arrange the amount of money within the time specified to repay the loans taken from creditors and to pay for the supplies. It should fulfill all the obligations agreed and should have good relations with the suppliers and creditors. Towards government, The organization should abide by all the laws of the government. It should pay the taxes in time. It should support the government in all the development activities. Towards general public, the management should protect the interests of society and support community development activities. Management should have behave with the people in proper manner and to see that the management improves the standard of living of the general public. Social responsibility of business in India. The government of India used to help business, but now businesses are expected to be more reasonable towards society. Many seminars have been conducted to explain social responsibility of business. Some areas wherein private business can contribute for social upliftment. Business must contribute in the area of employment by creating job opportunities, which is not a problem but a big challenge for business. Business must contribute in removing regional disparities. It should create infrastructural facilities and establish units in remote and neglected areas. Business must contribute in development of rural areas by developing cottage and small scale industries so the quality of life in rural areas can be improved. Business must contribute in maintaining ecological balance by controlling pollution caused by industrialization. Business must supplement the efforts made by government in developing areas by opening schools, hospitals, creating infrastructural and recreational facilities for employees and other people living in those areas. In India, business is realizing its responsibility towards society, but only few business units are actively participating. Government must make some legislation for all business to contribute for social welfare. Awareness must be created about social responsibility among businessmen, and there should be code of ethics for encouraging social upliftment. Let us discuss about the arguments for social responsibility, arguments against social responsibility. Arguments for social responsibility. Moral responsibility. It is the moral responsibility of modern business corporations to donate some part of their overall resources for the betterment of society. Public expectations. If business wishes to remain in the long run, it must respond to the needs of the society and give society what it requires. Public image. A firm which seeks better public image should support social goals. This way, it can gain more customers, better employees, more responsive money market, and other benefits. Avoidance of government regulation. Government is a massive institution with long arms which seeks to regulate business in public. Before government stretches its long arms, business should discharge its obligations to society. Better environment for business. Social responsibility creates a better environment for business. A better society produces more favorable for business operations. Social responsibility creates a better environment for business, and better society produces environmental conditions which are favorable for the business operations. Balance of responsibility with power. Business responsibility should be more related to power. It is reasoned that business has social power and every institution performs its social role in an orderly manner to benefit the society as well as the business. Gratitude. Business units benefits from society on the basis of commonly accepted principle that one owes debts of gratitude towards those from whose uh, we receive benefits. The corporation has certain debts that it owes to society. So we should be very much grateful to the society, and as a businessman, we have to contribute to the society. Coming to the arguments against social responsibility, business functions are economic and not social. In business, managers and shareholders are motivated by maximizing profits. Lack of social skills. Business managers are best at managing matters relating to business. They do not feel at home in social matters. Next, business has enough powers. Another argument that business has already enough powers, therefore, society should not take any steps which give it more powers. Social overhead cost. Cost on social responsibility is considered to be a social cost. It will not immediately benefit the business. Lack of accountability. The businessmen have no direct accountability to the people. Therefore, it is unwise to give businessmen responsibility for areas where they are not accountable. Lack of broad support. There is lack of agreement among the general public, intellectuals, and government in making the business socially involved. The business requires support from all groups of society as to achieve social goals. Factors which are responsible for the realization of social responsibility. We have market factors, government intervention, professional managers, trade unions, public scrutiny. A businessman becomes responsible towards the social obligation through market forces. In highly competitive market, customers are attracted to the products which are of good quality and which are at a cheaper price. Businessmen who do not consider paying capacity, tastes, and needs of the customer may lose their customers. These market forces make businessmen responsible towards society. Government intervention. The involvement of government makes businessmen responsive towards the society. Government provides various rules and guidelines which make the businessmen to realize their social responsibility. Some of them fixing the wages, controlling the pollution, fixing the price for the product, etc. The government may take over a specific unit of business. Professional managers. The emergence of professional managers has brought significant changes in the management. Professional managers carry out the work of management. These managers, being employees, understand the problems faced by the employees and try to solve them. Trade unions. The development of trade unions made management responsible towards welfare of their employees. Trade union improves the ability of workers in bargaining with management for wage rates and also with respect to working conditions. Public scrutiny. The financial condition of any company can be known from registrar of companies by paying a nominal fee. Businesses are becoming more conscious about their image, which is known to people through public scrutiny. Hence, they maintain good image in front of public. Businessmen carry out social welfare measures. Now, let us discuss about the forms of business organization. According to Ellen Haney, business organization is an economic organization. It is a harmonious adjustment of specialized parts for accomplishment of some common purpose. Forms of business organization. We have private organizations, public organizations, joint stock joint sector undertakings. Private undertakings. Private sector undertakings are owned, managed, controlled by individuals or a group of persons. The private sector undertaking activities are regulated by special act of the government like Partnership Act of 1932, Companies Act 2013. The main objective of private sector undertakings is to maximize the profit. The various forms of private sector undertakings are sole trading concern, partnership firm, joint Hindu family business, joint stock company, cooperative organizations. So, coming to the sole trading concern, a business which is completely owned, controlled, and managed by a single person is known as sole proprietorship, sole trading concern, or sole trading business. The person or individual who operates the business is called as a sole trader. Partnership firm. In India, according to Partnership Act 1932, Section 4, partnership is the relation between persons who have agreed to share profits of a business carried on by all or any of them acting for all. Joint Hindu family business. Hindu is a form of organization which is owned and carried out by family members. The elder member of the family is known as Karta or manager, who will be the head of the family and the business. This type of undertaking is losing its ground in the present society. Joint stock company. It is defined as a company or organization which is formed and registered under Companies Act. Cooperative organizations. A cooperative is one of the form of organization ownership business which is organized for the purpose of rendering service and is based on the philosophy of self and mutual help. We have public undertakings. Undertakings are public organizations. Public undertaking is a form of business organization that gains importance in the recent times. Industrial revolution helped all-round growth of industries. At present, public sector enterprises are engaged in manufacturing, trading, as well as in service activities. We have government companies, departmental organizations, public corporations. Government companies are those whose ownership remains in the hands of either center or state government. In government companies, majority of the company shares are owned by the government. Departmental organization. Under departmental organization, government would allot departments to its ministers for controlling and directing the operations of the department. For example, postal, railways. Public corporations. Public corporations are established under the Special Act of central and state governments. They are also known as statutory companies like Reserve Bank of India, State Bank of India. Joint sector undertakings. Joint sector undertakings refer to the business enterprises which are owned, administered, and regulated jointly by the public and the private sector. Joint sector integrates huge resources of the government, managerial and technological knowledge of the private sector. In a joint sector, the capital is distributed in the proportion like government 26%, private sector 25%, public sector 49%. Joint sector enterprises are also called as mixed ownership enterprises. Now let us focus on the factors that determine the choice of business organization. Suitable form of organization. To start a business organization, one has to take the decision regarding the type of organization which he wants to start. The decision can be taken based on the availability of capital, funds, basic resources, other requirements. Selection of suitable form of organization is an important decision to be taken before starting any business, because based on the decision only an owner can achieve his success. Therefore, while selecting a type of organization, one has to analyze all the advantages, disadvantages of the different types of organization. Sole proprietorship, partnership, joint Hindu family, cooperative societies, joint stock company. Factors influencing the choice of suitable form of organization. Easy and economical to form. The form of business organization selected should be easy to form. Each and every businessman intends to have very simple and economical method of formation of business. Coverage area. If the area to be covered is small and needs personal attention, selecting sole proprietorship form of business organization would be an appropriate decision. On the other hand, if the area of service to be covered is large, then company form of business organization should be selected. Flexibility of operations. Compared to company form of business organizations, sole proprietorship or partnership form of business organizations are very flexible. Percentage of risk. Carrying out sole proprietorship or partnership form of business organization is a risky affair. People who do not like putting their personal property in risk and intend to have limited liability select company form of business organization. Next, secrecy. Select the business where there is scope of maintaining and protecting the secrets of business. Compared to sole proprietorship or partnership form of business organization, company form of organization requires more disclosure of business secrets. Rules and regulations of government. Company form of business organization is obliged to follow rules and regulations imposed by government. Those who intend to stay away from rules and regulations of the government may go for sole proprietorship or partnership. Life of a business. Company form of business organization goes on forever, irrespective of the uncertainties in the future. Companies follow going concern concept. Unlike company form of organization, sole trader or partnership form of organization may get closed down at any point of time. Tax burden. In case of company form of business organization, profits are taxed on a flat basis, whereas in case of sole trader form of business organization, profits are taxed on a slab system. In sole proprietorship form of organization, percentage of tax increases with an increase in profits. Company form of organization are supposed to pay tax on both profits as well as dividends paid to shareholders. Extent of control. In case of sole proprietorship form of organization, sole trader will have direct control on the day-to-day activities of the business. In case of partnership form of organization, partners share the responsibility of control over business activities. In case of company form of organization, elected members, that is directors, will have control over the affairs of the business. Size and nature of business. Size and nature of business also influence the choice about the form of organization. Small sized business with low risk will choose sole proprietorship. Big sized business with high risk and wider scale of operations choose company form of business organization. Now, let us have an idea of sole trader, advantages and disadvantages of sole proprietorship. A business which is completely owned, controlled, managed by a single person is known as sole proprietorship. Sole trading concern or sole trading business. The person or individual who operates this business is called as a sole trader. In sole trading form of business organization, sole trader supplies necessary capital to the business. He uses his own savings or borrows money from his friends and relatives on his own responsibility, All the business decisions are taken by himself. He enjoys all the profits and bears all the losses of business. He may lose his personal property also. Sole trader is rightly described as owner, manager, controller, financier, organizer, decision maker, and risk taker. Characteristics of sole trading concern: starts a business unit very easily. It is a one man form of organization. Factors of production like money, machine, material, equipment, etc. are handled by one person. Sole trader is the controller, manager, guide in all the operations of business. Decision would be immediate, fast, accurate, and flexible. Liability of sole trader is unlimited to the extent that his personal property is also taken into consideration if loss occurs. Business secrets are well maintained. Profits or losses occur in business belong to sole trader. He is the risk taker. No restrictions are imposed by government for carrying out the business and have very small legal formalities. Coming to the sole trader merits and demerits, here the advantages are: formation of sole trader is easy and quick. Central power of taking decision lies in the hand of one person, is the controller of activities. Secrets are well maintained. Sole trader can gain goodwill in the market from his hard work. Decision can be taken quickly to improve the quality of service. Sole trader can have close eyes on the tastes and preferences of the customer. Profit of the organization depends upon the hard work of the sole trader. He is the responsible person, he is the boss of the business. Government interference is very minimum in sole proprietorship. Coming to the demerits, the liability of sole trader is unlimited. Any loss occurs in business, the sole trader has to bear it, and sometimes he has to uh, use his personal savings or properties to repay any loan. As he is the only investor in the business, low amount is contributed, and if loans are taken, the rate of interest is also very high. As there is no division of labor, various functions such as finance, production, marketing are to be handled by him only. Business in sole trader is uncertain. Any event such as death, solvency, or insanity occurs, business comes to an end. The scale of operations is also very limited, so production function will be very small and profits generated will be very less. Decisions are taken by single person. Decisions sometimes require expert view also. So sometimes they may fail to take a good decision. So these are the characteristics, advantages, and disadvantages of sole proprietorship. So with this, I conclude, and we have completed lesson 2. Thank you very much.